in the last class, we had just discussed about primarily infectious disease as far as your part one exam is concerned, and a little bit about immunology. In this class, the plan is to revise some of the very, very important things that we discussed in the previous class, just in case you either missed it or you need a quick revision. Spoke about the difference between a CAP, a HAP, and a VAP, and how your treatment principles might differ. Your definition of a HAP differs from that of a VAP, and 7 days of treatment for VAP according to present guidelines. VAP therapy should obviously reflect local antibiograms instead of just sticking to the textbook. CRBSI, we spoke about the definition and the differential time to positivity, and also carbapenem resistant enterobacteriaceae, how you treat different organisms depending on their resistant mechanisms, and also carbapenem resistant acinetobacter is also a very, very important topic. ITP is, remember, is an immune platelet destruction, right? So some process in your body is generating antibodies against your own platelets. So what happens is the patient would have an isolated low platelets and they have a more higher predisposition to bleeding. TTP, on the other hand, is whenever the patient is generating some form of platelet-rich microthrombi. So this classically leads to a microangiopathic hemolytic anemia along with an end-organ hypoperfusion. So remember, it is more critical, more of an emergency than ITP. So in sepsis or a simple viral thrombocytopenia, when you have antibodies generated against the patients, you would only, against the patient's platelets, you would only have an isolated low platelet count. You have to basically observe and treat the trigger whenever you have a low bleeding risk. But if you have a high bleeding risk or you have very low platelets, always treat it. So you can go for a steroid plus minus an IVIG and platelet transfusion only if there is severe bleeding. On the other hand, in TTP is always an emergency. You have to act immediately. Urgent hematopinion. Therapeutic plasma exchange is recommended for TTP, and there are certain add-on therapies which are also recommended, like your immunosuppressants such as high-dose steroids, capalizumab, or rituximab, as per the pathway. Let us practice a few micro antibiograms first, okay, and then we'll move to the other MCQs. It's just from now on, it's just going to be MCQs. A lot of them are quite simple. So I will ask you guys follow-up questions as well after the MCQs, but it has to be interactive. You guys have to at least try to attempt the questions, then only we can move on with the discussion and try to cover as much as possible. Okay. So here you have a 62-year-old man with diabetes who's admitted with septic shock from obstructive pyelonephritis. Your blood culture is grown in E. coli, and you've called the urologist who's done a ureteric stenting. And the patient is clinically improving, but he remains on low-dose vasopressor support. So this is the culture report of the E. coli. What is the best definitive antibiotic after the report is available, and why? Anyone?
Meropenem.
I'm sure this is an antibiotic you all deal with. Yeah. What is the best therapy for this patient?
Meropenem.
Okay. What? How do you classify this E. coli? What group does this E. coli fall into?
Complicated UTI.
It is a complicated UTI, and anything specific about this antibiogram which can help you make a comment about the E. coli? What kind of a pathogen is it? Piperacillin tazobactam was not non-inferior to meropenem in the famous Merino study. So nowadays, the recommendation is whenever you have a bloodstream ESBL, you always have to go for carbapenem, not a piperacillin tazobactam, even if your antibiogram shows a sensitivity to piperacillin tazobactam. Okay, very important. So the microbiogram always must be interpreted by the syndrome. Here, your piptaz may be sensitive, but you can use it only in low risk urinary ESBL infections. But if you have a bacteremia, septic shock, or complicated UTI, like you said, you have to go for a carbapenem. Okay. What is the mechanism of resistance? Under which group does this patient fall in Ambler's classification? Any idea? And what should you not use for this patient?
Colistin should not be used.
Colistin should definitely not be used. Would you use ceftazidime-avibactam or would you use meropenem-vaborbactam? What kind of a resistance mechanism is this? This is a KPC producing CRE bacteremia. Remember that your KPC producers would always be sensitive both to ceftazidime-avibactam and to meropenem-vaborbactam. Okay, but if you have an OXA producing organism, that would typically be resistant to meropenem-vaborbactam. So this is how you differentiate between the two. So an organism which is producing KPC would be sensitive both to ceftazidime-avibactam and to meropenem-vaborbactam. Okay, so 55-year-old man with severe ARDS on day 12 of ventilation. Patient has developed fever, purulent secretions, gradually increasing oxygen requirement, and new infiltrates on the chest X-ray. You've done a BAL culture which has grown an Acinetobacter baumannii. Okay, so this patient has VAP and you found a Acinetobacter baumannii in the BAL. This Acinetobacter is resistant to meropenem, to piperacillin tazobactam, cefepime, but is sensitive to minocycline and colistin. What preferred regimen would you use for this patient?
Minocycline.
Minocycline and colistin combination.
Okay, very good. What are the other sort of combinations that you can use? Anything else you can use?
Ampicillin sulbactam.
Okay.
High dose
Anything
ampicillin
else?
sulbactam. Then
What else?
sulbactam durlobactam is the drug of choice, but availability is the issue.
Okay. Very good. So, sulbactam, durlobactam, you can combine it with imipenem, cilastatin, okay, or with meropenem. That is the drug of choice. But like you said, availability is a problem. So in this case, you can go in for a combination of minocycline with colistin or minocycline with sulbactam. Now, slowly for Acinetobacter, we are moving away from colistin-based therapy. So we are trying to combine two drugs which are less toxic. So you can definitely, in this case, minocycline and sulbactam, if they're available, you can combine both of them. Okay.